Greetings, everyone. This is Rock Mouse Buck Connection with the conclusion of the weekly comic book roundup. Well, be doing this video. We'll be doing the Avengers. The Avengers titles for the week, and this week's DC titles as well. Starting with Savage Avengers number 10. Honestly, I'll say this. The Zero issue that came out a couple weeks ago, or last week, probably should have come out about a month and a half from now, as it references things that occur in Savage Avengers number 11, which comes out, next month. Alright, so where we left off, Conan, and Doctors Doom and Strange went after Kulan Gath in Egypt. However, Goth managed to poison Doctor Strange. However, Doctor Doom summoned his infamous Iron Man armor. Long story, just leave it at that. And set it and basically arranged so that it would protect and even save Doctor Strange. So, in the crypt of the City of Sickles, Brother Voodoo's spirit is afraid that his body is dying. Meanwhile, Kulan Gath has got Conan wrapped in stone, and however, the armor-wearing Doctor Strange manages to at least protect him somewhat, using combination of magic and technology. Strange manages to save Conan, and they open it, and at least knock him down at least knock Kulan Gath down a notch or two, or opening up a sarcophagus to find Brother Voodoo with an avatar of Shumagorath on his head. And so initially, Strange tries to surgically remove the avatar from Gorath, while Kulan Gath offers to Doom that if Doom simply bends the knee to Kulan Gath, when Gath himself ascends, Doom can claim this dimension for himself. However, Doom will never kneel. And in Conan manages to remove the avatar of Shumagorath from Brother Voodoo, and then Strange calls forth Kalfu, presumably a high-ranking spirit in voodoo, and Brother Voodoo and Doctor Strange end up in the swamps of Ogun. Strange explains to Kalfu what's going on. However, he sends Strange away before Brother Voodoo has time to tell Strange exactly what to do when it comes to Kulan Gath. When Strange returns, he utilizes the armor to grapple Kulan Goth, and then the cursed third eye of Agamotto is placed on the armored Goth, and seemingly causes the armor to explode. The helmet still with Goth's head inside it. The city is then gone, and the two sorcerers and the barbarian left in the desert, seemingly to wander. And while Conan starts to make his way on foot, the doctors teleport him back to the jungles of Brazil, before teleporting themselves to the Sanctum Sanctorum to try and figure out what to do about Kulan Gath. And well, Dr. Doom suggests a plan that Strange does not wish to deal with. There's a plan that Strange would rather not enact, calling in the aid of Mephisto. And that is where the issue ends. Oh, excuse the cover. Moving on to Thor number 3. Where we left off, Thor, the Herald of Thunder, had brought Galactus to one of the 5 planets that were noted by the Silver Surfer as having extremely high concentrations of the power that Galactus utilizes. However, Galactus tried to absorb all the planet with the population intact, though Thor was able to get them to able to save the population by evacuating to Asgard. However, the planet itself was then destroyed when, well, Galactus ate it. However, Beta Ray Bill has come to face down Thor. So we begin with the tale of how Thor waged war against an army of thousands alone without sleep, food, or failing, uninterrupted for 2 whole years, armed only with his hammer and the lightning in his wake. Why is this not one you've heard of? Because Thor has forgotten it. It's kind of like 2 years, but is 2 years of a raging war, but a fraction of a second to someone as old as Thor. That basically say that it is impossible to know the true legends of Thor, of the battles he has won, of the foes he has vanquished, of the countless bodies of the wicked that lay unburied in his name. Because for one such as the newly crowned king of Asgard, in time they will all be forgotten, lost in the ocean of his immortal mind. However, the coming battle between Thor and Beta Ray Bill he will remember for all the days to come. So, Beta Ray Bill comes at him, and Thor bats him away to one of the moons of the destroyed planet. The two fight it out, and in fact, Thor has the power cosmic root to say, "Hey, look, I'm not his slave. I'm doing this of my own volition." Now, Galactus is not happy with that. The two Oath brothers fight it out, however, and when all is said and done, Thor wins. And in the process destroys Stormbreaker. Leading to Bill renouncing his kinship, so to speak, with Thor. And before another blow can be delivered, Sif, the all-seeing goddess of the Rainbow Bridge, arrives. To stand by Beta Ray Bill's side. And that is where the issue ends. Next up, we've got Hawkeye Freefall number 3. Where we left off, the true identity of Ronan was revealed. And it's Hawkeye. But how can that be? Because, Ronan kicked the shit out of Hawkeye. And Winter Soldier. And Falcon. At the same time. So the issue begins at Hawkeye's apartment in Brooklyn. And apparently, the whole thing is that the way he's able to be Ronan and be Hawkeye at the same do so at the same time is with a mini time machine. A cheap time machine the government recovered after one of Kane's invasions. That Hawkeye stole. It sends the user forward in time an hour, then brings them back to where they were. As he refers to it as a temporal boomerang. And unfortunately, Clint's fight with Spider-Man broke it. And so he asked this is all being related, by the way, to the Hood's former IT guy. However, he's an IT guy, not a quantum physicist. And so Night Nurse arrives and probably starts disrobing because she just had a horrible day, some kind of super villain gang war, and walks right into the room where the Hood's IT guy is. Storms out, leaving her keys. Later that night, in another part of Brooklyn, a bunch of mobsters are trying to take down the Hood. In all honesty, the Hood just wants to talk to them, the Hood wants to interrogate them in potentially lethal manners for information about Ronan. However, the fact that they're shooting at him has him perturbed, so he, uses a rocket launcher on them. Even later that night in Central Park, Hawkeye's fighting off some ninjas when he runs into Black Widow, who is actually pretty sure that, he's Ronan, regardless of what he says. She explains, however, that after all, this Ronan moves like Clint, and so which Clint deflects with. Well, so does Echo, and so does Taskmaster. And then Clint, as Ronan, breaks into a government facility to steal something from S.H.I.E.L.D. What is that something, you ask? A Hawkeye life model decoy. Since he can't get the micro time machine working, well, yeah. Then Night Nurse returns because she figuring, okay, maybe I was a bit dramatic and storming out. And she thinks maybe she's falling in love with Clint. Until the LMD pipes up, and yeah. Again. And it seems like maybe now Clint's single again. So he goes after a Magia safe house that the Hood might be utilizing. Finds a whole bunch of dead moppers in there, and written in blood on the wall, "Where's Ronan?" It does kind of put things into perspective for Clint, though. However, he's not the only one looking into this. Daredevil's there, too. And he's a bit surprised to see Clint there. And that's where the issue ends. Moving on to Iron Man 2020 number 2. So, where we left off, Tony Stark, having had an existential crisis, basically has been declared dead by his technically older brother, Arno Stark, who has since taken over Stark Unlimited and combined forces with Banetronics, and is now planning and is trying to get all the AIs of the world working under him. Of course, well, the AIs of the world generally don't want to do that. And they've maybe begun something of a revolution. A revolution being led by none other than Machine Man, aka Aaron Stack, aka X-51, and Tony Stark. Also, Tony, now going by Mark 1, has also made a point of making the world think he's back to drinking again. So we begin in the Bermuda Triangle. Supervillain named Captain Barracuda is facing off against superhero Stingray. Machine Smith shows up, brandishing a device called the Uninhibitor. Basically making it so that the robots now no longer are free of human control and don't fight anyone else's battles. And so, the robots abandon Captain Barracuda. Which leads to him probably being punched by Stingray. In Cambridge, at Brevoort, Massachusetts, a robot stability test is interrupted by Awesome Android, who basically takes the robot, leaves it. At a Futura Motors testing site, some robotic crash dummies are saved by Quasimodo and Herbie, brandishing the Uninhibitor. However, Arno Stark shows up. The uninhibitor is damaged in his arrival. However, everyone else managed. The crash dummies, Herbie, and Quasimodo are able to escape. But the damaged uninhibitor is left behind. The uninhibitor is also the key, apparently, to controlling all AI intelligence. And it turns out that the fake reports of Tony being off the wagon are doing the trick, as Janet Van Dyne, Bethany Kay, Pepper Potts, Rai Williams, and James Rhodes all think that he's drinking again. Then their inside source at Stark Unlimited explains to them that something big is about to happen. Turns out that Jocasta has been reprogrammed, which makes Machine Man extraordinarily angry. Apparently, the code for controlling all AI is about to be uploaded via Stark or via the Bane Tower and Stark Unlimited satellites. And so a plan is hatched. Iron Man, or Mark 1, Cosmo, and the Nick Fury LMDs will attack. However, that will be a diversion. Meanwhile, Herbie, Awesome Andy will, and Machine Smith will we'll get Machine Smith to the servers storing the OS code. The Machine Smith access the code, merge with it, and insert a software patch. Meanwhile, Machine Man is basically he's the lookout and the contingency plan. Should the main plan go badly, he's got a rocket launcher to fire at the tower. So, seems to go off without a hitch. But the 13th floor isn't working. Turns out, though, that due to the incident at the hospital, and from issue 1, Arno Stark figured out the whole 13th floor concept. And so, he renumbered all the floors in Bane Tower. Outside, Machine Man is distracted and leaves his post, going after Jocasta. And meanwhile, Machine Smith, while he tries to change the code, is slowly being taken over by the code. And so Mark 1 and his strike team of Quasimodo and the Furies is now down to just Mark 1. And it's now Mark 1 against Arno Stark. And that is where the issue ends. Moving on to Marvel's Distinguished Competition with the Dollhouse Family number 4. Where we left off, in the past, Joseph Kent went in search of the woman he found, or he met in the cave that fateful day. With a knife made of a very specific metal that would be harmful to her. However, she sliced off the hand holding the knife and took on a much less attractive form with lots and lots of mouths filled with sharp teeth. And then, for looks of things, ate Joseph. Now in 2005, Alice and Una, when we last caught them, had just got onto a bus when a white supremacist who had been manipulated and getting on the bus at the same time got on as well and detonated a nail bomb. Well, Jake, Una's father, has arrived at the hospital. They're trying to... Turns out that Alice has been in a coma for the last 5 weeks, and she lost her leg. Also, Una lost her hand. A police sergeant then questions Alice, basically explaining that, for some reason in his flat, Arnold Wynn, the white supremacist who blew up the bus, had your name on a piece of paper. Though Alice doesn't know why that would be. She's still very... Because normally she doesn't... It's not like she took the bus on a normal basis. No. She couldn't find her car keys that day. In 1847, after the death of his father, Cordwainer has the possessions that were left at the hotel by his father, a journal with hard-to-fathom entries, and other things. Also, the dollhouse is there. In 2005, Alice is relearning how to walk with a prosthetic leg, but it's painful and including having the leg the prosthetic attached. She's being standoffish to Jake. Jake is also kind of, standoffish with her because, he's, everyone wants to learn they have a child when, the cops would say, hey, so yeah, well, when you had a one-night stand with a few years back, well, she had a kid by you, and that kid is in the hospital having lost an arm. Back in the past, we learned that Corbiner grows up. However, trying to understand the human condition, neither church or prostitutes help. He marries. Doesn't help. Human contact seems to elude him. He retreats more and more into his mechanisms and inventions, which soothe his thoughts, allow him to stay hidden from himself as well as others. Grows old, and his wife leaves him taking their children with her, though his oldest does visit from time to time. The estate mired in debt, the house a tomb, the grounds an unprofitable wilderness. And he wishes that he had found someone who understood him. A friend of his soul, his heart's ease. The dollhouse responds and tells him to come live with, and tells us we're going to come join them. Back in 2005, Alice and Una return home, and Una goes to talk to the dolls in the dollhouse. But Alice ain't having that. It's like, because she knows. She knows the dollhouse is behind what's happened. So she goes to talk to the Dollhouse family and says she wants to, she needs to go to the black room and have a chat. However, Jenny, the girl from the troubled the children's home, is there. Well, she's kind of the bouncer for the black room. Turns out there's an offer to be made. Una gets her hand back. Alice comes and joins the Dollhouse family. And then Alice is promptly spat out of the dollhouse and tells it, piss off. Leave us alone. We want nothing to do with you ever again. Alice reads the story to Una, and before Una goes to bed, and then Jake and Alice Jake offers to leave, but and Jake asks if he can come back by tomorrow. Alice says, you can stay if you like. Though at first he figures she means, just like be nice to have him around, not stay with her. She takes off her prosthesis and they're about to get into bed with one another, but her stump's itching and her leg has grown back. She runs into Una's room just as Una finishes the chant to be taken into the house. Jenny holds up the doll of Una and says, "Can't beat the house. No more deals, but let us know when you're ready to beg." Then the house vanishes. That's the end of the issue. Well, the end of the story. We've still got chapter 12 of Sea Dogs. The werewolf aboard the HMS Havoc has been... And this chapter is basically more of the werewolf on the HMS Havoc. Killing off its more and more crew over the course of October 6th, October 7th, and October 8th. Making for a total of... 2 dead, though some of the dead must be wrapped in multiple small pieces. And that is where the issue ends. I was about to finish another. That's right. I actually got 2 more books. Next up, we've got The Batman's Grave, number 5. So, where we left off with The Batman's Grave, Batman had found the psychiatrist that the former DA had been seeing, and had in fact manipulated the DA, not the former DA, but the no. was. Yes. Oh yeah, it was a former DA. It was a former DA that was killed by Helpham. But Helpham stated that he was working for a group called the Sworn Army, and he wouldn't tell Batman anything about them, and then jammed a bunch of chemicals straight into his neck. However, Gordon managed to get some information, and it's actual information that apparently Batman doesn't have. These are instructions for Batman. Turn on the bat signal, and when Batman arrives, have him meet Gordon over at Arkham. Batman arrives at Arkham and is met by Warden Jeremiah Arkham. While Arkham tries to be very pleasant with Batman, well, let's just say Batman does not return the gesture. Turns out that the Sworn Army are the same group that attacked that were responsible for the attempted mugging of a GCPD officer in the first issue. And so now, turns out that the killer of Vincent Stanek is also within Arkham, and Batman would like to talk to him. He starts asking some questions, and he seems to actually get somewhere with it. However, the orderly is watching. It turns out he's a member of the Sworn Army. Tries to shoot Batman in the back, and then shoots Stanek's killer square in the head. Luckily, the body armor on his cape protected Batman. It's apparently made of structured polymer composite. And Gordon makes a point of asking if Batman made it or bought it because it's something that the GCPD could definitely use. And to be fair, Gordon's right. The inmate there's an inmate mopping the floors who picks up the handle of his mop and snaps it in two. Before Gordon can shoot the inmate in question, though, Batman stops him and then takes on the guy himself, quickly taking him down, and then explains to Gordon, no killing. However, some more of the inmates show up, this time with some machine guns, and, well, Batman wades through them pretty quickly because, well, Batman. Turns out, however, that Arkham is gone, and the armed inmates are also part of the Sworn Army. Batman remarks that the Sworn Army seems to be targeting the justice system, which does include Gordon. And Batman means to get Gordon out of there. And that's where the issue ends. And our final book of the week, Harley Quinn and the Birds of Prey, #1, from Black Label, or DC Black Label. So, admittedly, if I had paid attention to what the solicit said, I probably wouldn't have picked this up, as this is a direct follow-up to Amanda Conner and Jimmy Palmiotti's Harley Quinn series. So we start off on a desert island. Harley, Ivy, and Red Tool are all there. Red Tool is feeding Harley grapes, and Superman's bartender serving from the bar, including some Kryptonian shots. But he gives a bit of a speech, and it's a long, long, long speech, and finally, well, Harley's bored by it, so she simply tells Superman where he can go to find Jimmy Olsen, who apparently they've kidnapped. Of course, however, it turns out this is all a dream. And Harley is with her gang of Harleys, all bunched together on one king-size mattress. She slips outside, however, and goes on the roof to lament things, and when Power Girl shows up. So the two have a chat, and it turns out, well, Harley's got a few problems. First, her and Ivy went on a trip to a dessert, went on a getaway together. It was supposed to be a few days away from life's routine looniness. Well, Harley wanted more than a few days, and set the boat adrift. Which made Ivy mad. Storm blew through, which made her even madder. But some old friends of Harley's saved the pair, and Ivy basically just said, "Hey, look, I need some time. We'll talk again." Well, soon still hasn't happened. Then she gets home, and it turns out that hotel she owned, the Dreamin' Seaman, well, she got behind on the mortgage payments, and the DeFeo family came to collect by beating up Big Tony and setting the place on fire. Luckily, Tony was able to get the gang of Harleys out of there and get him over to another place. Also, she does suggest the idea to Power Girl that, I'll give you some pieces of coal, you crush them into diamonds for me. That's a no. But Harley figures she's gonna go to Gotham and get things taken care of. Take care of some stuff, get the money needed to rebuild. But the gang of Harley is like, no, you're not going to Gotham. It's a terrible idea. But she explains herself and it's like, hey, we'll go see Tony. Then, I will go to Gotham and take care of this. I'll be back in, a week at most. She goes in a doctor's outfit. She is a doctor after all. After seeing Tony and the way he is, well, she decides to go to the DeFeo family and, take care of things her own way. And there was the DeFeo family that are there in New York. Harley promptly kills. And the members that are in Gotham, well, before Harley blows up the office, they see the whole thing. And decide, hey, have our people keep an eye out for Harley. So Harley gets on a train to Gotham, and, well, one of the Harleys is opted to join her, as has Red Tool. Well, that night, Harley sneaks out of the train car and, in fact, basically unhooks the car that Red Tool and the other Harley are in from the rest of the train. One of the people on the train gets word of the Joker that Harley's on her way to Gotham. And then Huntress, as well as a bunch of hitmen, and Cassandra Cain get on the train, and, well, Huntress and Harley take on the hitmen after clearing out the passengers from the car that they're on. And Cassandra Cain also gets involved. The hitmen are all killed by Huntress and or Harley, with the final one being kicked out of the train, kicked through a train window by Cassandra. As they arrive in Gotham, Renee Montoya is there to meet them and says to Harley upon her arrival, "Welcome to Gotham. Now turn around and go the hell home." And that's where the issue ends. And that is it for this week's Comic Book Roundup. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying, live long and rock hard.